The massive body of the three-headed water spirit serpent was shared among its three heads, but their thoughts were entirely different. While the ferocious head was busy breaking the mysterious barrier of the pavilion, the small head to the side whispered, "What kind of power is this? It's so strange." Clearly, Xiao Yan's strike was a combined effort of Long Yi and the soul-devouring talisman. Long Yi knew that if the three-headed water spirit serpent managed to break through the pavilion's barrier, Xiao Yan's situation would become incredibly dangerous. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power of the flames immediately concealed the black energy, but the most frightening part of the dragon breath wasn't the flames. Xiao Yan understood that relying solely on his heavenly flame would be a fool's dream to harm such a powerful beast. This dragon breath was only a cover, masking the true power of the soul-devouring talisman, an act of deception. The plan was to let the power of the soul-devouring talisman directly strike the three-headed water spirit serpent. Xiao Yan wasn't entirely sure how strong the talisman was, but since it could even devour the most bizarre and evil energy, he was confident it could handle this serpent. Boy, no matter how much you resist, it's useless. Once I break this pavilion's barrier, I'll devour you alive. The deep voice of the ferocious head echoed. While it faintly sensed an eerie power within the dragon breath, the three-headed water spirit serpent, in its pride, didn't take it seriously. After all, no matter what strange tricks this human employed, they couldn't overcome the insurmountable gap in strength. In the face of absolute power, no scheme or trick could stand a chance. Having been in the lake for so long, the serpent's defense was on par with even the most powerful seven-star Do Dis, thanks to the lake's mystical waters. Xiao Yan's attack was completely ignored, as the serpent continued chanting its incantations. This human boy actually figured out we're imprisoned in this lake. But with this level of power, it's not enough to earn my trust. The thing that binds us to the lake bed is far too. The deep voice inside the ferocious head whispered to itself. But it's been a long time since anyone has come here. I remember the master of this place said that if someone came and passed the trials, they could go to his residence. The childish voice communicated with the deep voice in its mind. Do as I say. I want to see how much strength this human boy really has, the deep voice concluded, just as the dragon breath crashed into the serpent's massive body, hitting right at its vulnerable spot, the serpent's 3-inch mark, known as the vital point for a snake. As the saying goes, strike a snake at its 3-inch spot. Ah! At first, the ferocious head didn't pay attention, but when the fiery attack hit its body, it suddenly realized something was wrong. A surge of fear rose within it. Not good. In the next instant, the ferocious head stopped chanting, its eyes lowering to the lake. The immense body, now partially above the water, was already emitting the smell of burning flesh, much like roasted lamb. Although the flames had been mostly neutralized by the mysterious lake water, the eerie black flame injected by the soul-devouring talisman continued to burn relentlessly, like an indestructible fire. The black flames emitted an aura of dark energy, and mysterious runes danced atop the flames. Damn you, boy! The central head roared in fury as the massive body plunged into the lake. The black flames, which carried the talisman's mysterious runes, caused the three-headed water spirit serpent excruciating pain. Desperately, the serpent tried to extinguish the flames in the lake's mystical waters. Don't bother. You won't be able to put it out, Xiao Yan said leisurely as he sat in the pavilion. Without my intervention, not even a Do Xian could extinguish those flames. Although the pavilion's barrier had been somewhat compromised by the serpent, it didn't hinder Xiao Yan's ability to negotiate with the beast. As for the black flames, even Xiao Yan wasn't entirely sure why they behaved this way, but he knew that they originated from the soul-devouring talisman. If Xiao Yan wished to retract them, a single thought would bring the flames back to him. However, if he chose not to, the talisman's strange origins could easily devour the soul energy of the three-headed water spirit serpent until it completely burned out. Ah! Human! What did you do? The furious roar erupted from the water, and the massive body of the three-headed water spirit serpent emerged once more. This time, though, its aura had visibly weakened. One of the heads remained tightly shut, devoid of any life, while the other two were drenched in sweat, clearly suffering from the torment of the black flames. Around the serpent's vulnerable 3-inch spot, the black flames burned steadily, and no matter what the three-headed water spirit serpent tried, it could not extinguish them. TSK. What exactly is the origin of this soul-devouring talisman? Xiao marveled. Even a mighty ancient beast like the three-headed water spirit serpent can be burned so severely. In just a few breaths, the once mighty and arrogant three-headed water spirit serpent had been utterly subdued by the talisman's power. Wait. Xiao suddenly noticed something unusual about the serpent's soul energy. Soul energy was the foundation of a strong being. It could be said that the strength of a cultivator had little to do with their soul energy. However, a powerful soul was always found in a powerful being. Other than alchemists and those who specifically trained their soul energy, both magical beasts and humans maintained a certain level of soul strength. Any damage to the soul would directly affect one's core strength. This was why the three-headed water spirit serpent had grown so frantic when it realized it couldn't extinguish the black flames. The flames were slowly devouring their soul energy. In just a short moment, it had already consumed 1% of their soul. If this continued for another 10 minutes, the serpent's foundation would be severely shaken. Now, I have the power to negotiate, don't I? Xiao said, his voice calm and composed as he watched the scene unfold. Being someone who had frequently walked the line between life and death, Xiao naturally understood that the three-headed water spirit serpent was merely testing him to see if he had the ability to help them escape their imprisonment. What a bold boy! The ferocious head gritted its teeth, holding back the pain as it spoke. I've been trapped here for so long, and you're the first person to dare speak to me like this. Everyone else has died by my fangs. And I'm the one who can free you, Xiao responded, smiling as he met the serpent's gaze, showing no sign of believing the beast's threats. Boy, I must admit, you're far too arrogant. The three-headed water spirit serpent growled, its breathing growing heavier upon hearing Xiao words. Clearly, it wasn't pleased with Xiao actions. As a mighty three-headed water spirit serpent, its power rivaled that of a human early-stage 8-star Do-D, and with its two other heads, it could even fight against a 9-star Do-D. How could it tolerate being so easily humiliated by a mere human? Let's cut the small talk, Xiao replied. Since our deal is done, I want to know everything about this place. And I'll help you escape, but you must lead me to the manor here. His tone turned more serious, signaling the end of his light-hearted remarks. That's no problem. As long as you can free us from this place, taking you to that cursed place is fine. The three-headed water spirit serpent said with a slight tremble when mentioning the cursed place, clearly terrified of it. But first, you need to remove that thing. While I don't fear it, leaving it on any longer will inevitably cause some unnecessary damage. Unable to bear it any longer, the serpent finally spoke up, fearing that the black flames would eventually harm its soul essence if left unchecked. I must warn you, Xiao said casually, though the warning in his voice was evident. If this thing can trap you once, it can do it again. If I find out you're deceiving me, next time I'll have it devour your soul completely. Trust me, I'm more than capable of it. Why so fierce? The small head from before interjected with a tone of grievance. I just told you my big brother's weakness, and now you're… The ferocious head let out a sharp grunt, causing the childlike voice to shrink back, as if a little girl had been caught making a mistake and was afraid of being scolded. I agree, the ferocious head finally said. I swear by the bloodline of the three-headed water spirit serpent. Hearing this, Xiao relaxed. He knew that magical beasts valued their bloodlines immensely, and swearing on it was a sacred act for them. Their pride wouldn't allow them to break such an oath. Withdraw, Xiao said in a low voice, focusing his palm on the black flames at the serpent's vulnerable spot. The next moment, a similar energy flowed from his palm, and a powerful suction force appeared, drawing the black flames back toward him. In the blink of an eye, the flames vanished from the serpent's body and returned to Xiao Yan's hand. As the black flames returned, They seemed to carry a trace of pure energy, a small portion of the soul power the talisman had devoured from the three-headed water spirit serpent. However, Xiao didn't pay much attention to it. TSK, what kind of battle technique is that? Its power is quite formidable. I'd guess it's at least close to sacred class. The childish voice piped up again, full of curiosity about Xiao's black flame technique. All right, now tell me what this place is and why you're trapped here. That way, I can figure out a solution, Xiao said calmly, though the soul-devouring talisman in his palm still glowed faintly, ready to strike should the three-headed water spirit serpent break its promise. Let's change to human form. This form is too cumbersome, the childish voice suggested. Suddenly, the massive body of the serpent flickered with strange lights, transforming into 3 streams of colorful energy. Transform into human form? Xiao was a bit surprised. Although this transformation was only temporary, it was enough to astonish Xiao. Magical beasts could transform into humans with the help of certain elixirs, but that was different from genuinely cultivating as a human. Only when a magical beast completely transformed and started anew as a human could they gain the advantages humans had in cultivation. However, this transformation method was incredibly dangerous. A magical beast had to be at least a Docian to attempt it. If a Docian-ranked magical beast was discovered by humans during its transformation, the consequences would be disastrous. After a brief moment of surprise, Xiao focused on the figures that appeared before him. The 3 streams of light dispersed, revealing 3 human forms. The first was a young woman with an elegant aura. Her figure was gracefully accentuated by a long dress, her ponytail adding to her pure and adorable appearance. Her large, watery eyes scanned her surroundings curiously. The second figure was a man dressed in black. There was nothing particularly outstanding about his appearance, but beneath the black clothing, Xiao could vaguely see the outline of a solid, muscular chest. The man's brow exuded a fierce, violent aura, like that of a terrifying beast, sending a chill down anyone's spine with just one glance. In his arms was a woman, though she didn't possess any striking beauty. Yet, she emitted a unique, mysterious aura. The strangest thing about her was the complete lack of life force. She seemed like a living corpse. Boy, remember this. My name is Xixing, and these are my 2 younger sisters, Xiling and Xiyu. The man holding the woman spoke, his tone commanding. Xiao was surprised to see the 3 of them standing on the water's surface. He knew this water wasn't ordinary. It had a forbidding quality that should prevent anything from standing on it. These 2 were clearly not simple. Hey, I'm Xiling. What's your name? Where did you come from? Is the outside world fun? A barrage of questions came from the young woman, leaving Xiao with a slight headache. Who exactly was interrogating whom here? Ling, hold off on the questions. Let's handle the important matters first. Xixing interrupted, his gaze filled with guilt as he glanced at the woman in his arms. Big brother, you can't blame yourself. If it weren't for what happened to our elder sister. Xiling's voice grew somber, but she fell silent after catching Xixing's pained expression. That incident was my fault, Xixing admitted, surprising Xiling. It was rare for her elder brother to openly admit such things. What's gotten into him today? Xiling wondered, as her brother had never acted this way before. Boy, I'll tell you everything I know. Xixing continued, turning to Xiao. Ling, there are some things you should hear as well. Please, go ahead, Xiao responded, though he wasn't entirely sure what Xixing's intentions were. Still, the 3-headed water spirit serpent hadn't broken its oath, and that gave Xiao some reassurance. Had they decided to attack him again, Xiao knew he would have been in serious trouble, but fortunately, they hadn't. Ling, do you remember when I told you that we were captured by the master of this manor to serve as its guardians? Xixing said, glancing slightly at Xiling as he spoke. Of course, big brother, you've said that before. But back then, I was too young, and so was elder sister. We didn't understand much, and it's only because of your care that we've grown to where we are now, Xiling replied softly. Even though we've been stuck here in this lake all these years, with you and elder sister by my side, I've been happy every day, she added. unaware of the emptiness in Xing's eyes. What exactly happened to this three-headed water spirit serpent? Xiao wondered quietly. By the look of things, they weren't captured here to serve as guardians by the master of the manor. He paused, contemplating, and it's strange. Why does the soul-devouring talisman seem so drawn to something inside the serpent's body? No, Ling, you're wrong. We weren't captured by the master of this manor, Xing said, his tone grave. Back then, I was seriously injured by a powerful opponent and narrowly escaped into the desolate mountain range. I managed to evade my pursuers, but my wounds were beyond healing. Just as I was about to give up, I heard a voice, as soft as an angel's whisper, calling to me. Come here, come here. I didn't know why, but with my last breath, I followed that voice, passing through the stone gate and arriving at the peak of the desolate mountain range, this place. When I first arrived, like this human boy, I ended up in this pavilion. But the voice calling me came from the bottom of this lake. I was on the brink of death, so I didn't care anymore. I threw myself into the lake and began sinking. I don't know how long I descended, but slowly, I regained consciousness and discovered you too. You were both just infants back then. When I found you, there was a terrifying drop of blood beside you. Strangely, although that blood was extremely powerful and terrifying, it seemed to contain a faint trace of black energy. I didn't think too much at the time and immediately swallowed the blood. It wasn't until later that I realized it was the legendary blood of the three-headed water spirit serpent. As for the black energy within the blood, that's the dreadful thing that has haunted me ever since. After consuming the blood, 2 additional heads sprouted from my body, but I was too weak, and the black energy began to erode my mind. For some reason, you two became fused with my other 2 heads. In other words, you two have been residing within my other 2 serpent heads. And as for Xiao, from the day I found her, she has been unconscious. No matter what I've tried over the years, I haven't been able to wake her. But even in her slumber, her body and strength continue to grow, Xing said, his voice heavy with sorrow. No, you're lying. Xiling's eyes brimmed with tears, clearly shaken by Xing's revelation. She couldn't tell whether his words were true, but there was one thing that stood out. Despite being a part of the three-headed water spirit serpent, she and Xiao were never affected when Xing was in danger. This was highly unusual. Typically, for magical beasts, their fates were intertwined, especially for the three-headed water spirit serpent. If one head were injured, the other 2 would also suffer. I'm not lying. You 2 can leave my body at any time, but I don't know exactly how. All these years, you've been absorbing my do qi, yet thanks to the mysterious power of this lake, my strength has only grown. That's something I'm grateful for. I don't know your origins, but it's clear you both possess extraordinary backgrounds, continued. Impossible. Xiling's childlike voice trembled. Ling, calm down, Xing said, feeling a tinge of guilt. After all, these 2 had saved his life all those years ago. How could he be so harsh toward them? Are you still my big brother? Xiling asked, stubbornly holding back her tears. I always will be, Xing replied, his heart warming at her words. Originally, Xing was just a magical beast with the strength of a 3-star do D. After being attacked by a human expert, he fled into the desolate mountain range and, on the verge of death, encountered the blood of the three-headed water spirit serpent. Consuming it caused his body to mutate. However, after evolving into a 3-headed water spirit serpent, 2 different and evil forces were born deep within him. Energies so malevolent they were like the darkest of devils. When Xing could no longer resist and was about to be overwhelmed by those evil forces, the cries of 2 infants from the bottom of the lake caught his attention. Without thinking, he dove deeper into the lake with his last ounce of strength. Upon reaching the lake bed, he found 2 delicate infants, as perfect as porcelain dolls. To his surprise, the evil black energy within him was subdued by their cries. The 2 infants then transformed into streaks of light, merging with his 2 additional heads. The black energy attached to the serpent blood was also suppressed by the infant's sudden appearance. This was why Xing had always cared for the two girls so much. Without them, he would have perished long ago, and his strength certainly wouldn't have grown to the level of an 8-star Do D. This time, Xiling responded softly, lost in thought. Boy, wasn't my story fascinating? Xing's deep voice echoed toward Xiao. Come on up, Xiao said, his face calm but his heart shaken by the story. What on earth happened in the desolate mountain range for it to become so corrupted by evil energy? Xiao was deeply unsettled. All right, staying in this lake too long isn't good for anyone, Xing said, rising with Xiu in his arms and stepping onto the pavilion. You guessed correctly. This place is the resting place of a powerful being who passed long ago. Although their strength was only at the peak of Do D, they were a genuine immortal-class alchemist. Xing said as he arrived at the pavilion, clearly reading Xiaoyan's thoughts. An immortal-class alchemist? Xiaoyan's eyes lit up with joy. Although he had gathered all the materials needed to refine the devouring sacred flame, his rank as an alchemist had yet to break through. He knew that to advance to a second-rank imperial alchemist, he first had to strengthen his soul power. But now, Xiaoyan's soul strength was already at the peak of the imperial mortal grade. Taking another step forward was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The power of an imperial realm soul was divided into 4 levels: imperial mortal grade, earth grade, heaven grade, and beyond that, the celestial realm. Even though Xiaoyan had reached the pinnacle of the imperial mortal grade, achieving the earth grade seemed like a distant dream. Moreover, Xiaoyan knew that unless he could break through to the earth grade in soul power, he would never advance to a second-rank imperial alchemist. Whether it was due to the restrictions of the Do D continent or something else, the soul power required for an imperial first-rank alchemist corresponded to the imperial mortal grade. For a second-rank imperial alchemist, it required the soul power of the imperial earth grade, while a third-rank imperial alchemist needed the soul power of the imperial heaven grade. Is this for real? Xiaoyan asked, his excitement evident. Would I lie to you? Xing replied with a slight snort. Fantastic! Xiaoyan celebrated inwardly. If this place truly was the resting place of a great alchemist, Xiaoyan was confident that he could reach the earth grade in soul power. After all, this was an immortal-class alchemist. Their lifetime knowledge would be extraordinary. And I happen to know the exact location of this mighty figure's final resting place, Xing added, a mischievous smile creeping onto his face. This should be the entrance to the manor, right? Xiaoyan furrowed his brow as he carefully examined the lake. Don't bother looking, this is indeed the entrance. But without me leading you, I guarantee you'd get lost. Xing said confidently. The manor of a peak Do D and immortal-class alchemist is not so easy to enter. Just say it. What do you want me to do for you? Xiaoyan cut straight to the point, knowing that Xing clearly had a motive for asking for his help. Haha, sharp kid, Xing chuckled. I mentioned earlier that when I devoured the 3-headed water spirit serpent's blood, a trace of evil energy remained, even though it was suppressed by the aura of Xiling and Xiu. But if I don't deal with it, it will eventually become a disaster, he explained, the seriousness in his tone unmistakable. Senior, you overestimate me. I'm just a mere 5-star Do D. That evil energy you're talking about is troubling even for you. An 8-star Do D. How could I possibly handle it? Wouldn't that be suicide? Xiaoyan replied. Xiaoyan wasn't foolish. He had no reason to risk his life for a creature he had only just met. Besides, while Xiaoyan might be able to deal with the evil energy, his soul-devouring talisman could only handle energies that didn't exceed the strength of a 9-star Do D. Anything beyond that would be too much, though the talisman could certainly devour and convert such energy into Xiaoyan's own power. At first, I thought it was impossible too, but the power you just used to devour souls can do it, Xing said earnestly. That technique is too costly for me. Not happening, Xiaoyan refused flatly. You're a sly one, kid, Xing said begrudgingly, realizing that Xiaoyan was no pushover. At that moment, Xing's hands holding Xiu moved slightly, and his eyelids twitched, as if he was in deep pain over something. Xiaoyan's aura immediately became alert. If Xing made a move, At this close distance, Xiaoyan's situation could become dire. Fine. If you help me resolve this problem with the evil energy, I'll agree to lead you to the manor, Xing finally conceded. And I'll accompany you the entire way. His gaze remained fixed on Xiaoyan, awaiting his answer. This deal isn't worth it. I refuse, Xiaoyan replied firmly. There seems to be something valuable beneath the lake, Xiaoyan added, his decision influenced by Long Yi's voice in his mind. Long Yi, a magical beast once comparable to a human Do Xian, had keen senses and immense pride, especially due to his connection with the Golden Dragon King. He wouldn't care for most treasures that Xiaoyan might covet, but if Long Yi said something valuable was here, it had to be significant. Damn you, boy. Don't push it. Xing roared in frustration. Senior, as I said, that soul-devouring power takes a great toll on me. If you want my help, shouldn't you show some sincerity? Xiaoyan calmly replied. Sigh. Looks like I'll have to bleed a little for this. Xing sighed and relented. Though Xing was as strong as a human early-stage 8-star Do D, dealing with this human boy would normally be easy. However, the evil energy inside him had eroded deeper over the years. If he didn't deal with it soon, it would leave long-term damage. Now, Xing was stuck in a difficult position. One more thing. I can not only help you get rid of the evil energy, but I can also separate the powers of these two girls, Xiaoyan added. Although Xiaoyan had only spent a short time with Xing, his immense soul power allowed him to sense the magnitude of the evil energy inside Xing. If it erupted, the scene would be terrifying. Moreover, Xing had his own pride. After devouring the blood of the three-headed water spirit serpent, he was burdened with the presence of Shi Ling and Shi Yu inhabiting his other two heads and tormented by the evil energy. While Xing had a harmonious relationship with the two sisters, only by developing his own two heads' intelligence could he fully unlock the advantages of the three-headed water spirit serpent. The sisters had saved Xing's life and suppressed the evil energy, but this situation was unsustainable in the long run. Fine, I'll agree to your terms, Xing finally said, biting his lip in frustration. But human, remember this. If you deceive me, I'll destroy you, even at the cost of my own life. As a reward, I'll lead you to the bottom of this lake. There's a great treasure at the lake's bottom. The lake's mysterious nature is due to that treasure. Even after hundreds of years, I haven't been able to uncover its secrets, Xing continued, his tone pained. But let me be clear. I'll guide you there, but whether you succeed or not has nothing to do with me, Xing said, clearly trying to prevent Xiaoyan from asking for more. This is my final offer, Xing added hastily, worried Xiaoyan might demand more. Heh, I wouldn't dare push for more, Xiaoyan chuckled mischievously, now satisfied that he had achieved his goal. Big brother, be careful. That evil energy is extremely powerful. Xiling suddenly spoke, recalling something and expressing her concern. Don't worry, I've endured it for so many years. What's there to fear now? Xing laughed heartily, handing Xiyu over to Xiling. Holding Xiyu, Xiling's eyes welled up slightly with tears. For hundreds of years, Xing had often been tormented by the evil energy, leaving him in terrible condition. Now that they had finally met someone who could help solve the problem, Xiling couldn't help but feel a warmth in her heart.